half. Still, Pollock says,
most workers are lagging behind where they would have been if pre-pandemic trends had continued.
Because prices are still so much higher than they were before the pandemic. Meanwhile, if you work for a small business, you've likely been getting smaller pay bumps than the average American worker. Frank Fiorelli tracks wage inflation for payroll processor Paychex.
It's definitely come down from last year where we were seeing some pretty robust growth. It moved under the 3% rate a couple months ago, and then it popped back up. So a little bit of a uptick.
All in all, says Ted Rossman at Bankrate, when it comes to workers' purchasing power,
even though the job market's been good, they're not feeling great about things.
That's especially true of low and middle income wage earners, says Rossman. Many of them are overwhelmed by high prices for everyday living expenses, using credit cards to make ends meet, then falling behind. Bankrate reports half of credit card holders carry debt over from month to month at an average interest rate just over 20%.
But some people are paying 25, 30 store credit cards. A lot of those are in the mid-30s. I mean, it's crazy. These are rates we used to think of for deep subprime borrowers, but now it's become increasingly common.
There is some light on the paycheck horizon, though. Julia Pollock at ZipRecruiter says heading into 2025, a majority of employers posting jobs on the site are boosting wages.
Almost 1 in 4 employers say they're planning significant increases of 5% or more. So it looks as though wage growth is back on track.
The incoming Trump administration is a bit of a wild card, though. Mass deportations could lead to labor shortages, driving wages higher. Those higher wages, plus steep new tariffs on imports, could push prices higher as well. I'm Mitchell Hartman for Marketplace.
So let's go from macro, thinking big picture about wages, to the very micro. I host a marketplace podcast called This Is Uncomfortable, and I recently talked with a woman named Nikki Massey. When Nikki got offered a job many years ago, she didn't really question the salary, which isn't unusual. 40% of employed adults who did not ask for more pay said they were satisfied with what they were offered. That's according to Pew. But what if you found out later that maybe you could have been making more money all along? Nikki described that moment to me.
I was in my home office, and the Human Resources Department decided to do a presentation.
Nikki, who's in her late 40s, was working as a senior manager for a nonprofit in D.C. During this remote presentation, she remembers HR sharing a chart of her company's salary ranges. And that's when she
WNYC is supported by BetterHelp, committed